Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to dig into something really important in the world of tech, especially for finance: digital product launches.
And let me tell you, launching a financial product is no walk in the park. A misstep here isn't just a small bump in the road. It can be a full-blown disaster, shaking customer trust and costing companies a fortune.
Yeah, no pressure, right?
Hmm,
So, to guide us through this, we're going to be looking at From Hero to Zero. A poor product launch in banking is fatal.
definitely a catchy title.
It really is, and it's written by UXDA, a firm that knows a ton about financial UX design. I mean, just the title alone tells you a lot, don't you think?
Absolutely. In the world of finance, trust is paramount, and one wrong move can have lasting consequences. It can impact a company's reputation and their bottom line for years to come.
Yeah, and the article really drives that point home with the story of TSB Bank in the UK. Remember back in 2018 when they launched that new banking app?
Oh, how could we forget?
It was a complete meltdown. Millions of customers were locked out of their accounts. It was chaos.
It was a PR nightmare, and the financial fallout was astronomical. They took a $176 million hit.
Wow, 176 million. That's hard to even wrap your head around. It really shows that technical glitches aren't just minor inconveniences. They can be absolutely devastating.
Exactly, and what makes it worse is that TSB didn't even bring in any outside help to manage that massive tech transition. It's like they thought they could handle open heart surgery on their own digital systems, and, well, we saw how that turned out.
Not well at all. So I guess a big takeaway here is that even with the best intentions, skimping on planning and testing is a recipe for disaster.
100%.
And speaking of things to avoid, the article dives into what they call the 10 deadly sins of product launches, basically. A rundown of all the common mistakes companies make.
It's true, and it's more common than you might think. One of the biggest sins, especially these days, is rushing the launch. Everyone wants to be first to market, but if you skip those crucial testing phases, it's like launching a rocket without a guidance system.
So instead of a grand entrance, you get a spectacular crash and burn.
Exactly. The article really emphasizes the importance of a phased rollout, starting small, getting feedback, and then gradually expanding.
Kind of like testing the waters before you dive in head first.
Precisely. It's all about making sure you've got all your bases covered before you go big. And, another one of those deadly sins is not doing enough testing, especially across different devices and platforms.
Oh, right. Because these days, you've got to make sure your app works on everything, right? From the newest phones to those tablets people have had forever.
Exactly. It's about providing a smooth experience no matter what your users are using. And that kind of leads into another big point: ignoring user feedback.
It's like cooking a meal for someone and not even asking if they liked it, right?
That's a good way to put it. Getting feedback both during development and after launch is absolutely crucial. You wouldn't believe how often companies assume they know what users want without ever actually asking them.
It's like they get so excited about their creation that they forget to actually see how people use it in the real world.
Exactly. That's why having those feedback loops throughout the entire process is so important. A/B testing, for example, lets you test different versions of features with real users and see what really resonates.
So it's like having a built-in focus group that's constantly giving you feedback.
Exactly. And the article also talks about the importance of a well-structured launch strategy, breaking it down into 3 phases: pre-launch, launch, and post-launch.
Okay, so there's more to it than just like flipping a switch and hoping for the best.
A lot more. During pre-launch, you're building up anticipation. Think marketing campaigns, those little teaser videos you see, maybe even giving some early access to a select few.
You want to get people excited about it, kind of like a movie premiere, right? They're lined up, ready to go.
Exactly. Then, when you launch, it's all about communication, making sure everything is running smoothly, and of course, keeping a close eye on that user feedback. This is where having a dedicated support team is key.
Because let's face it, no matter how well you plan, something could always go wrong. So having a team there to fix things and help users can really make or break the launch.
100%.
Yeah.
And then there's the post-launch phase. This is where you're constantly improving, looking at the data, getting more feedback, and making changes based on how people are actually using the product.
So it never really ends, does it? It's a continuous process.
Exactly. A successful launch is just the beginning. Now, the article mainly talks about finance, but these principles, they apply everywhere, don't they?
Oh, for sure. Whether you're launching an app or, I don't know, some new gadget, the core ideas are the same. Know your audience, test, prioritize user experience, and be ready to adjust your approach.
You've got it. And that brings me to something I was thinking about earlier. The article talks about what companies should do, But what about the users? What's their role in all of this?
That's an interesting point. What do you mean?
Well, think about it. As users, we have a lot of power. We decide which products we use, which companies we support. We ultimately determine what succeeds and what fails.
So you're saying we need to be more discerning about the products we use?
In a way, yes. By demanding better products, giving constructive feedback, and supporting companies that prioritize us, the users, we can push the entire industry forward.
It's like we're voting with our wallets and our voices,
Wow.
right? If something isn't good enough, we can speak up and demand better.
Exactly. And that collective voice can be a powerful force for change. Now, taking a step back, how do these launches, both the good and the bad, affect the bigger picture of tech?
Yeah, it makes you think about the long-term impact, right? Like a really successful launch. That can inspire a whole wave of innovation, can't it?
Absolutely. Success stories often push other companies to raise their game, to try new things.
And then on the flip side, when a big-name product fails, it's like a warning sign for everyone else.
It definitely makes people stop and think. It highlights what not to do, shows why those best practices are so important, and it can even lead to changes in regulations.
Right, like that whole Cambridge Analytica thing, right? That was huge. It really shook things up and made everyone rethink how they handled user data.
Exactly. Suddenly, data security wasn't just a technical detail, it was a front-page issue.
It's a reminder that there are real consequences to overlooking user experience or trying to cut corners. So before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on something you mentioned before, those emerging trends in tech. Where do you see things going?
Oh, well, one thing's for sure. AI and machine learning are here to stay.
Yeah, it's everywhere you look these days. It's kind of amazing, isn't it?
It's completely changing how we interact with technology. We're already seeing it being used to create personalized user experiences, predict what users will do, and even automate some tasks.
So it's not just about building a great product anymore. It's about building a product that can learn and grow.
Exactly. Yeah. And another trend that's gaining momentum is this focus on ethical design, building things responsibly.
Which, honestly, is a relief considering some of the stuff we've seen.
For sure. People are a lot more aware of how their data is used now,
Yeah.
and they want more transparency and control. And the companies that get that, the ones that put ethics first, they're the ones who are going to build trust with their users.
Yeah, it's like that saying goes, honesty is the best policy. And being open and upfront, that's the new honesty when it comes to tech.
You got it. So yeah, launching a digital product, it's a wild ride. But the good news is, if you understand the basics, if you learn from past mistakes, and if you keep up with the latest trends, you can really increase your chances of success and create something amazing.
That's a great point to end on. We have more power than we think, and we can use that power to shape the future of tech.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Until next time, everyone.
See you next time.